The hidden danger around you. You're sitting in a room, surrounded by people you trust, colleagues, friends, maybe even family. As the laughter flows and conversations continue, everything seems normal. But what if I told you that among these familiar faces could be someone secretly sowing seeds of chaos in your life? Someone charming, funny, and seemingly supportive, but hiding a darker, more sinister intention. Today, we're going to uncover the signs that someone in your life might be toxic or even evil. And no, we're not talking about movie villains or storybook monsters. We're talking about real people, people who might be quietly manipulating and controlling those around them for their own gain. What's more terrifying is that these people often disguise their true nature behind charm, empathy, and charisma. But don't worry, by the end of this video, you'll have the tools to recognize these signs, protect your mental well-being, and regain control of your life. Why Stoicism? You ask? Because the Stoics, ancient philosophers like Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, and Epictetus, had profound insights into human nature. They understood the importance of recognizing toxic traits and maintaining emotional balance in the face of challenges. They taught us how to live a life guided by reason, self-control, and virtue. Today, we'll use their teachings to navigate one of the trickiest aspects of life, dealing with toxic individuals. Chapter 1, Charm and Deception, the Master Manipulators. Have you ever met someone who could light up a room with their presence? They walk in, and suddenly everyone is captivated. Their charisma is magnetic. You find yourself drawn to them, eager to be in their company. They seem witty, engaging, and interested in your life. It feels like you found a new best friend. But here's where it gets tricky: appearances can be deceiving. Let me tell you a story about Emma. Emma worked with a colleague who seemed perfect. Let's call him James. James had this amazing ability to make everyone around him feel important. He was the go-to person in the office, always making jokes, always offering to help. Emma trusted him, often turning to him for advice. But over time, subtle cracks began to show. He'd interrupt her during meetings, belittle her contributions in front of others, and gradually take credit for her ideas. At first, she brushed it off as James just being James, charismatic and confident. But deep down, something felt off. She started noticing a pattern: James needed to be the center of attention at all times. And anyone who threatened that, even subtly, became a target. The Stoics taught that true character reveals itself over time. While charm can be appealing, it can also be a tool for manipulation. Marcus Aurelius often warned against being swayed by surface appearances, reminding us to look deeper, to observe behaviors over time before passing judgment. Charm is fleeting, but true virtue is constant. James, in this case, used his charm as a mask, a tool to manipulate those around him. The Stoic principle of apatheia, the ability to remain undisturbed by external things, comes into play here. Stoicism teaches that we must not allow ourselves to be dazzled by charisma or initial impressions. Instead, we should remain emotionally balanced, observing behaviors with a clear mind. By practicing apatheia, Emma could detach from her emotional responses and begin to see James for who he truly was. The key lesson here is that just because someone is charming and charismatic doesn't mean they have good intentions. Watch for subtle signs. Do they dominate conversations? Do they belittle others? Are they more concerned with being liked than with being truthful? These are red flags. Chapter 2, The Lack of Empathy, When Compassion is Absent. Now, let's dive into one of the most telling signs of a toxic person: a lack of empathy. Empathy is what connects us as human beings. It allows us to share in each other's joys and sorrows. It helps us form meaningful relationships. But what happens when someone lacks this fundamental trait? Take Sarah's story. For example, Sarah had a friend, Jessica, who seemed supportive at first. Whenever Sarah needed advice or someone to talk to, Jessica was there. But over time, Sarah noticed something odd. Whenever she shared something deeply personal or emotional, Jessica would brush it off. When Sarah was struggling with a difficult breakup, Jessica didn't offer comfort. Instead, she changed the subject to talk about her own life. It wasn't just emotional support that was missing. Jessica never celebrated Sarah's achievements either. When Sarah got a promotion, Jessica's response was lukewarm, almost dismissive. Marcus Aurelius often spoke about the interconnectedness of humanity and the importance of considering others' well-being as part of our own. A person who lacks empathy is disconnected from this basic human principle. According to the Stoics, someone who shows a blatant disregard for the feelings of others is a serious red flag. In Stoic philosophy, the absence of empathy points to a person who lacks virtue. Seneca emphasized the importance of kindness and justice. When someone can't even share in your happiness or offer support in tough times, they reveal a fundamental disconnect from the Stoic virtues of compassion and understanding. The lesson here is clear: if someone consistently fails to show empathy, whether by brushing off your emotions, downplaying your achievements, or not being there for you in tough times, they are toxic. Don't ignore these signs. It's time to distance yourself from such individuals. Chapter 3: Manipulation, the subtle art of control. One of the most insidious traits of a toxic individual is manipulation. Manipulators are skilled at twisting situations, making you question your reality, and bending your will to suit their needs. This can leave you feeling confused, powerless, and unsure of your own judgment. Let me introduce you to Mark, a man who found himself entangled in a manipulative friendship. His friend, Kevin, was the classic manipulator. Kevin would shower Mark with compliments, always making him feel like the most important person in the room, until Mark disagreed with him. Then, Kevin would subtly guilt-trip Mark, accusing him of being a bad friend for not supporting him. It wasn't just the guilt. Kevin often played the victim, making Mark feel like he was responsible for Kevin's happiness. Over time, Mark started questioning his own feelings and even doubting his own decisions. It wasn't until Mark took a step back and analyzed the situation that he realized Kevin had been manipulating him all along. The Stoics valued clarity of thought and the ability to see things as they truly are. Epictetus taught that our perceptions should be grounded in reality and that we should remain steadfast in our principles, no matter the external pressures. When someone manipulates you, they are clouding your perception and distorting reality, making it difficult to stay true to these Stoic ideals. Manipulation, from a Stoic perspective, is a direct assault on one's autonomy. The Stoics believed in self-control and rationality. Manipulators aimed to disrupt both, making you dependent on them. This is where Stoicism's emphasis on independence and emotional detachment becomes crucial. The lesson here is to recognize manipulation for what it is: a deliberate attempt to control your thoughts and actions. Pay attention to how people make you feel. If someone is constantly making you feel guilty, unsure, or dependent, it's time to set boundaries and distance yourself. Chapter 4: Control, when autonomy is undermined. Controlling behavior goes beyond mere preferences or quirks. It's about someone who seeks to dominate every aspect of your life, leaving little room for your own autonomy and decisions. Julie's relationship with her partner, David, started out well. But over time, David's controlling nature began to surface. He insisted on knowing where she was at all times, checked her phone regularly, and even dictated who she could and couldn't see. What started as concern quickly became a form of surveillance. Julie found herself constantly walking on eggshells, afraid of upsetting David. She felt trapped, her sense of autonomy slowly eroding. The Stoics, particularly Epictetus, emphasized the importance of maintaining inner freedom and autonomy, regardless of external pressures. Controlling behavior is fundamentally opposed to the Stoic way of living, which values personal freedom and self-governance. Control, in a Stoic sense, is a violation of one's nature. The Stoics believe that we must govern ourselves, not be governed by others. Seneca taught that true courage and wisdom lie in standing firm against such threats to our autonomy. If someone is consistently controlling aspects of your life, whether through monitoring, financial control, or isolation, it's time to take action. Reclaim your autonomy by setting boundaries, seeking support, and removing yourself from the situation if necessary. Chapter 5, Pathological Lying, When Trust is Eroded. The final and perhaps most destructive trait of a toxic individual is pathological lying. This goes beyond the occasional white lie that most people tell. It's a constant stream of deception that manipulates reality for personal gain. Thomas was in a relationship with a pathological liar. His partner, Claire, constantly fabricated stories about her past, her achievements, and even her feelings. At first, Thomas didn't notice the lies. Claire was so convincing, mixing truth with fiction, that it was hard to tell what was real. But over time, the lies became more blatant. She would lie about where she had been, who she was with, and even small details about their life together. Thomas found himself doubting everything, unsure of what was real anymore. The Stoics valued truth and integrity above all else. Marcus Aurelius emphasized living in accordance with nature, which means aligning our actions with truth and reason. Pathological lying is a direct opposition to these principles, creating a false reality that benefits only the liar. Pathological liars disrupt the Stoic ideal of living in harmony with truth. Their lies create confusion, eroding trust and undermining relationships. The Stoics teach us to remain vigilant and discerning, always seeking the truth and not being swayed by falsehoods. If someone is constantly lying, whether about big things or small, it's time to take a step back and evaluate the relationship. Pathological lying erodes trust. And without trust, no relationship can survive. The Stoics would advise distancing yourself from such individuals and focusing on maintaining your own integrity. Conclusion: protecting your peace, the Stoic approach to boundaries and well-being. Now that we've identified the signs of a toxic person, what's the next step? Setting boundaries is one of the most crucial skills you can develop when dealing with difficult or toxic people. Boundaries are about defining what you will and will not accept in your relationships. And they are essential for protecting your mental, emotional, and even physical well-being. Be clear, be firm, and be consistent. The Stoics emphasize the importance of discipline and perseverance. By consistently upholding your boundaries, you demonstrate self-respect and teach others how to treat you. Remember, boundaries are not about being harsh or unkind. They are about protecting your peace and maintaining your integrity. The Stoics teach us that we cannot control others, but we can control our own reactions and decisions. By maintaining your inner strength and clarity, you can protect yourself from the harmful effects of toxic behavior and stay true to your values. Remember, your peace and integrity are worth protecting. no matter who tries to undermine them. The Stoics believed that our worth is determined not by external factors, but by our own actions and integrity. By setting and maintaining boundaries, you are living in accordance with these principles and fostering a life of peace, virtue, and resilience.